Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Naaman went to his master and told him what the girl from Israel had said. "By all means go," the king of Aram replied. "I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter that he took to the king of Israel read, "With this letter I am sending my servant Naaman so that you may cure him of his leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he is trying to pick a quarrel with me?" When Elisha, the man of God, heard the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message: "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." But Naaman went away angry and said, "I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hands over the spot, and cure me of my leprosy. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" So he turned and went off in a rage. Naaman's servants went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him. And his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Then Naaman and all his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, "Now I know there is no God in all the world except in Israel, so please accept a gift from your servant." The prophet answered, "As surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing." And even though Naaman urged him, he refused. "If you will not," said Naaman, "please let me, your servant, be given as much earth as a pair of mules can carry, for your servant will never again make burnt offerings and sacrifices to any other God but the Lord. But may the Lord forgive your servant for this one thing. When my master enters the temple of Rimmon to bow down, and he is leaning on my arm, and I have to bow there also, when I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may the Lord forgive your servant for this." "Go in peace," Elisha said. After Naaman, there's another part to that scripture, but I think this is probably a good place to end it. So that's 2 Kings 5. And in carrying on with this idea of using the Bible as scaffolding to help me understand what it means to be a business owner, what am I tasked with? The Old Testament gives me real live stories to think about. And then the New Testament is where I look to see how Jesus emulated that same thing in his life. And what stands out of this is this idea of, what task have I decided is beneath me? Naaman's a really important guy. He's got leprosy. He's told to go to Israel to see this prophet to be cured of his leprosy. And he's expecting like this big thing because he's like a big deal. So he was important. He had a problem because of his title and standing. He thought he was going to get some great healing. Like he thought like everyone would come out, that they would do this big ceremony with God, and he'd be like, "Yes, we got you." But that's not what happened. In fact, he was told to go dip himself in the Jordan River, which he says there's like these other rivers that are so much better than the Jordan. Like, really? I gotta go in the Jordan River? He had to lower himself to go and dip himself in the river 7 times to be healed. And this was so far beneath him that he wasn't prepared to do it. Makes me think about, what task have I decided is beneath me, as I am responsible for my family, as I'm responsible for a business, as I'm responsible for the people that are under the care of our business. What task have I decided in my own mind that only I would know is beneath me? As I look into the life of Jesus, it's almost embarrassing to consider that there would even be a task that I would find beneath me, because we see, for example, in John 13, 1 to 11, Jesus, knowing who he was, washes the feet of Judas. And he would have known that Judas was going to betray him, and yet he did it. We also see another example in Matthew 21, 1 to 9, where Jesus, the king of Israel, but not the king of Israel that Israel thought was coming, came in on a donkey. Didn't come in on a horse, didn't come in with an army, didn't come in with a militia. He just came in on a donkey. Even standing in front of Pilate, Jesus didn't argue with Pilate. And it makes me think, between this story of Naaman having done something that was beneath him and then being blessed for it, it's not doing something that's beneath you to get blessed. It's just this idea that if you're prepared to, as a leader, um, demonstrate humility, then you don't know what's sitting on the other side of that. And in this particular case, I see that on the other side of that was Naaman being cured of leprosy, obviously something that was very, very important to him. But it took a minute for him to mentally get there, to be able to see the fruit of what that decision would bear. And in the life of Jesus, obviously, to me, it seems very apparent that him constantly humbling himself produced here, 2,000 years later, we still talk about him, we still learn from him, we still attempt to emulate him, because it's so scandalous what he did. The last shall be first, the first shall be last, washing Judas's feet, not arguing in front of Pilate, coming in on a donkey. Like, Jesus just emulated humility, and yet he's the Son of God. So if he can be humble, certainly there must be an opportunity for me to be. Am I prepared to do tasks that are beneath me? Am I prepared to sit with our team and do the things I don't want to do? As an example, from time to time, I walked onto our job sites as a worker to work underneath the care of our site supervisors, to do physical work, to kind of see what's it like to be on one of our job sites. What's the communication like? It's not work I have to do, it's work I choose to do, because I do care about serving our staff and our team, but I feel like I'm not able to do that if I can't put myself in their shoes. Currently, I'm on a project for a month. We purchased a property and we're demoing it. And so I've got work boots on and I'm doing the same kind of work that our crews do every day. And I'm really, I get a chance to learn about what goes on in our business. And I don't think that's common. I don't know of any business leaders, maybe a few of my friends that own businesses, that from time to time will do the work that is beneath them, but not because they choose to, because they have to. They're short staffed. Um, but in doing these things, I get a different appreciation for the work that our team does. I get a different level of insight into what our business does. And I get to see where our systems and processes can be improved. Most importantly, people notice. The people on our team, they notice when I do the tasks that don't need to be done based on my title, but I choose to do them anyway. And that builds trust with them. I think what I've noticed that does is it creates a sense of camaraderie, certainly. It also creates the sense that, look, Dylan, if you're here, does that mean we have a problem with our company? Because we don't need you in the field. We need you making sure, like, helping us to grow, helping us to create a stable business that we can build careers on, that we can earn more money from. So it builds trust, because I think what happens in these situations when I do that is people will say something to me, they'll talk to me, they'll bring things to my attention that in any other setting may not provide the same opportunity. So as I think through Naaman and kind of his challenges with doing something as simple as dipping in the Jordan River, I think we all have a Jordan River in our lives as business owners. There's a task, or there are tasks we simply refuse to do because we think it's beneath us. And if we're not even thinking that hard about it, maybe it's just something we just wouldn't choose to do because of our pride or because of our ego or because of our title. But if we're prepared to be humble, then I think great things can happen. And as I look into the life of Jesus, I see the same idea emulated. He was humble, great things happened. That's it. And I keep coming back to this idea as I listen to the business news and I listen to all the things going on in the marketplace. And I think to myself, every time people try to impose themselves on other people, authoritarian, doesn't matter whether you're a capitalist or a socialist or a communist, anytime people try to subdue other people, no matter what it looks like, friction is what comes out of that. And that friction creates all sorts of downstream problems. Whereas if we could just focus on the issues at hand and separate the people from the problem, I think we'd see that as business leaders, we would have more fulfillment, more meaning in our life. But also, what's the alternative? Like, what other methodology are you going to follow? Are you going to follow the leaders like Jack Welch, who is someone that I looked up to as a young businessman, only to see that he happened to be running a business at the best time he could have been running one? And so all of the accolades that he has earned are not without credit, but certainly over time, time becomes the truth teller, and he's just another business guy. So are you going to take a bunch of advice from him, or are you going to, what else are you going to do? You're going to listen to, the Sam Harrises of the world, or you going to download a meditation app, or what are you going to do? My answer is I find coming to the Bible and looking for these principles and then being challenged by them has made all the difference in the world on multiple levels. And these little videos are my way of trying to talk about my thoughts out loud, trying to understand what I'm thinking about, and hoping that maybe it resonates with somebody else who's a business owner who feels empty, who doesn't really understand what the point of all of this is. And because certainly I can go through those moments, but every time I come back to the Bible and I use the Bible as the scaffolding for how I should be conducting myself as a business owner, I find that good things are always on the other side.